Hi, Sean Kavanagh here with another Aussie Target training video. In this video we're going to look at task rings or minimum maximum distance rings. So to get access to this tool we go to data and then task rings, and we get a task rings window open here. Now the first thing you'll see about this window, we've got the option to draw 4 rings, and the distances are in kilometers and radius. So we'll just quickly fill this out. We'll put 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers and 4 kilometers. We've got markers turned on. We select our waypoint tool, select the waypoint from the map, and then to draw the rings, select the ring button. And you can see now we've got rings at 1, 2, 3 and 4 kilometers drawn on the map. Now the marker is this little diamond that it draws around the waypoint, and the reason we put that on there is to identify which waypoint if you've got a cluster like this. So for example, if I turn that off and I redraw the rings, it's a bit ambiguous as to which waypoint we've drawn those rings around. So particularly the further you zoom out, the less obvious it becomes. So by putting the marker on, it becomes obvious which waypoint we've got. If I select a different waypoint, take 117 next to it, draw the rings, it's now really obvious which waypoint I'm working with. So that's the first part of it. You can change the thickness of the lines by sliding up and down on the slider on the left hand side here, and you can also change the color. Click on the color box and pick a new color, and away you go. If you want to clear the rings for this task, just hit the X button and those rings are gone. The waypoint information is however still saved, so you can just click the ring button to draw the rings again. So we'll just move to another part of the map here and we'll set up a bit of a flight. We'll reduce the number of rings back to 1 and 2 because that's pretty standard unless you're doing a 3D task. We'll select this waypoint here, 365, and we'll draw the rings. Now one of the things you can do to reduce the amount of clutter on your map is to draw them as arcs in the direction that you're flying. So if we were flying from left to right on this map, or west to east, we could just draw those as arcs. So what we would do is, after selecting the waypoint, select the arc tool and then click in the direction that we're flying relative to the waypoint. So the waypoint's here, we click to the right hand side of it, and then we get those 2 arcs. Now if we wanted to set up a second task, we would select tasks, task 2, same thing, put in your distances. We'll stick with 1 and 2 kilometers for the moment. We'll select a waypoint that's within that range, which is 363, and again we'll draw this as arcs. So we click arc, click in the direction of flight, and we now have the arcs. Again, task 3, let's try it again, see if we're lucky. 1 and 2 kilometers, select 157, draw it as arcs, and there we go. So each set of rings will have its own color and its own thickness. You can have up to 8 sets of rings drawn in this manner, and you can adjust each one of those individually. The advantage of the arcs obviously is just reducing the clutter on the map. If I go back to task 1 and I turn that into rings, go to task 2, turn it into rings, go to task 3, turn it into rings, you can see the amount of junk on the map. It really makes it messy and difficult to look at. So in a lot of situations you'll probably find that you'll end up drawing them as arcs rather than rings a lot of the time. When you draw them as arcs, like I said, any direction you click is where they will draw. So you need to think about which direction you're flying when you draw them as arcs. And there you go. The clearing of them, like I said, clears them all individually for each task. And you can just go through like that. Alternatively, you could, I'll just put them all back on again, as rings. You can go to the help, clean up, and that will remove all of those rings automatically for you. Final tip here, we've got a little on-screen keyboard or numeric keypad. Click on that tool there, and that just allows us to edit these if you're using a tablet, so you don't have to bring up a full on-screen keyboard if you're using a pen and tablet input, and adjust those numbers, and away you go. Close that down, and that's your minimum maximum distance task rings. Thanks for watching.